like to ask you some questions about cryptocurrency. Now, we've traversed this several times, so I'm trying to work out, I guess, what's happening inside the Treasury, inside the government. Now, in the last Parliament, there was a significant review into crypto. There were recommendations. The Treasury issued a consultation paper before the election. The new government promised to regulate crypto. They issued a almost identical consultation paper. The Treasurer promised that this would be dealt with after the FTX collapse, and every time you turn up to estimates empty-handed. So I guess I'm wondering, why is Australia unable to regulate cryptocurrency?
Thank you, Senator. I'll ask Mr Kelly.
There's clearly a problem inside the executive government, inside the Treasury, because it's not normal for you to come every 6 months and to give the same answers. So I'm really looking for some insight.
So Mr James Kelly, the Assistant Secretary, Digital Competition and Payments Division.
Yeah.
So the state of play on that issue is they're currently working on the draft legislation to implement where the government's at following the consultation process we ran at the end of 2023.
Great. When's it coming out?
So we're working to prepare the exposure draft legislation, ordinary course of business, the kind of release of exposure drafts or the introduction to Parliament is kind of a matter for government.
When are you thinking the exposure drafts will be released?
I think that's a matter for the government, Senator.
Pardon?
That'll be a matter for the government, Senator.
What's happening, Minister Gallagher?
I don't have a date for you.
That's a shame.
Yep. I don't have a specific date for that. But if I can provide you with anything more information, I will endeavour to do so.
Well, is the government intending to conclude and to deliver on its promise to regulate crypto in this Parliament?
I think that's the intention, yes.
It is. Okay, so so the plan is to have a draft bill exposed for comment and then to introduce legislation and then pass that before the election.
Well, that's a matter for Parliament, isn't it, really, as to how it travels through. And I note this was an issue where the Coalition didn't regulate crypto, so it's another area we've inherited. If there's anything further I can provide you, but we have committed to legislation. I understand that there's work being done on that draft legislation, and if I can provide any more info, I will.
Okay. Can you understand some of the frustration in this sector about the uncertainty about investing in this country?
I can understand, and certainly some of the discussions I've had is people have been more interested in how it's going to be regulated, so being involved in the consultations to date. Okay.
But do you think it's a risky strategy just to sort of keep on deferring this? I mean, if there's another collapse...
We are deferring it. There's been a consultation process and we have made a commitment
all right. You've had a long time to do this
regulate
now.
Digital and crypto asset platforms, and that work is underway. I mean, as you know, this part of the Treasury portfolio is very legislatively heavy. There's a lot of legislation, a lot of work being done. If there's anything more I can update you with about timing, I will send it.
Well, let's go to the money then, because we're not seeing any output in terms of even a draft bill at this point. So how much money has the government spent on developing a crypto framework which doesn't yet exist?
I don't know. I don't have any figures with me.
So the relevant figures, Senator, is in the 24-25 budget. The government provided ongoing funding, $1.5 million a year to Treasury to progress digital asset-related reforms.
Yeah.
So we have a team that is working on these issues. It's working on developing the relevant legislation that you've been discussing, consulting and advising on work related to central bank digital currencies, and there was a paper put out by Treasury and the RBA, I think last month now, and kind of working out through other issues, that are related to the kind of crypto and digital asset space.
So, Treasury's been given $1.5 million to work on crypto.
Yes, Senator.
That's in addition to, is that the whole amount of money allocated, or would some of it be hoovered up in the BAU of markets?
That represents the whole amount allocated within Treasury to crypto. That's equivalent to a team of about 6 or 7 people. That's the kind of level of resources we have going to it.
I haven't done a bill yet, okay. And has APRA been given money as well for this?
It was ASIC.
ASIC. How much has ASIC been given?
So they received funding of $1.5 million to enhance its digital asset capabilities in 24-25.
Okay. But
and I think provisional, I think the money has been set aside for when the legislation takes effect, that they're able to administer it.
Okay, so right now we've spent millions of dollars to have no bill, and we're 2.5 years into the term. So that's not so good on the regulation side. Now, what about on the tax side? Because there was a Board of Tax report. Now, who's here from the Board of Taxation?
Senator,
they'll be later.
It'll be Revenue Group.
They're not here right now?
No, they'll be later.
They could be.
Oh, that's very prescient. But they will be here, so we can ask them that. So let me just quickly check. So, look, I think that's all I have. So, basically, your answer on the regulation piece is that it is under consideration. Who's the Minister?
Minister Jones.
Okay. Have you spoken to him about this?
Personally, I have had a number of discussions around, obviously, the legislative program in this area because it's so huge, really.
And does he seem to be alert and onto this?
Absolutely.
Okay,
as he is across all areas of his portfolio.
So he knows this is a priority.
Okay.
I've almost finished.
Okay.
So he knows this is a priority?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of priorities in this portfolio area.
Okay, so I guess my final question is, we've touched on the investment certainty piece, but what do you say to consumers who might be hurt by the failure of the Parliament to enact, or the government, I should say, to enact regulation? It's unregulated, right? So if they do their shirt, they do their shirt. So.
Well, I would say it's a shame that this wasn't dealt with or commenced properly under the former government, and that we have not only put resources behind it, but consultation effort behind it to make sure that we are in a position to legislate and protect consumers.
You've had 2.5 years.
So that is what I would say.
Well, Senator, can
it's not a very good
clarify on that? Consumers are not completely exposed in this sense. To the extent to which the ASIC obligations as a financial product, to which an Australian financial service licence obligations apply, they still apply in the normal sense to financial products. So
they do that, but it is also true that a lot of this would not be regulated, and in fact the Treasurer himself said in October 2023, quote, "We are releasing a proposal paper today that recommends making crypto exchanges and digital asset platforms subject to the existing Australian financial services laws." So why would the Treasurer say that if there was no problem to solve?
So what we're examining as part of this, and what we've done through the consultation, is ensure that there are no gaps in the system. As Mr Kelly pointed out, the work has been broad. It picks up everything from the asset platforms themselves, central bank digital currency, markets for tokenised assets, and decentralised finance. There is a range of things that need to be considered here, and we need to ensure there are no gaps in there, as you say, because we don't want consumers being adversely affected.
I just want to, because now you've gone there, I have to just ensure that you've got all the right information, because the Treasurer said in the Financial Review on the 17th of November 2022, in relation to the FTX collapse, quote, "These developments highlight the lack of transparency and consumer protection in the consumer market, which is why our government is taking action to improve the regulatory frameworks while still promoting innovation." Now, Mr Chalmers said this on November the 17th, 2022. That's the position of the Treasurer, who is at the apex of your agency. So he said there's a consumer protection problem.
So I'm not saying there's not a consumer protection problem, Senator. I completely agree with what the Treasurer has said there, that there's absolutely room for improvement, which is why we're doing this consultation on the, and preparing the exposure
It's taken years and years and years to do nothing.
Well, and when you introduced your bill, nobody liked it. And
a lot of people liked it, actually.
No,
it's not true.
Well,
a lot of people liked it.
Well, I don't think
I can send you a whole list of people who liked it.
That's a fair assessment.
At least there
we've
is a
been
bill.
working closely with stakeholders to get this right. We look forward to introducing some draft legislation or exposure drafts soon.
Well, I did a bill with 5 people. You've got 1,000 people working for
and
your Treasury.
nobody
You can't do one bill.
No one wanted it passed.
All right.
A lot of people did.
Okay,
Like it.
the usual things happening. Okay.